Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, this is Amal. I'm a dancer and traveler. In the last 3 years, I went around the world and I'm a huge Michael Jackson fan, and that's the reason I actually dance. So today I want to talk to you about what I did around these countries, going to Africa, teaching dance, teaching Michael Jackson choreographies and bringing that same choreography all over the continent, and then to Asia and then to Brazil. Recently did an iconic video for They Don't Care About Us. So I want to talk to you today about why I think MJ is an icon, why his legacy is so important, also why he inspires me and why he inspires so many dancers and artists, and also how I learned to dance like Michael Jackson. So that's a question I get so much. How do you dance like Michael Jackson? How I learned. So stay tuned. If you're a big fan of Michael Jackson, this is going to be a great episode for you. Even if you're not, I mean, who doesn't like MJ's music? All right, so first let's start with why MJ is such an icon. I mean, I read somewhere that Michael Jackson is the second most famous person after Jesus, and I'm not even surprised. I mean, if he had his social media alive, if he was alive today, he'd, I think, be the most followed person because of how great he is, and his legacy is so huge. So even after his death, people in new generations are still listening to Michael Jackson and dancing like him, and older generations always relate to Michael Jackson. I can't think of any other artists that has that effect on, new generations. And also, when I was young, my grandma, who's never read or written in her life, who grew up in a village, she knew Michael Jackson, and I'm sure if you go to anywhere in the world, they'll recognize it. Whether they're 5 years old or 80, they will recognize the music of MJ, and that is the magic and the power of this icon for me. So his legacy is so powerful and special, and it keeps on going. And I'm so glad, because when people comment on my videos and they can relate to that music, to that same passion I have for his music, because since I'm a child, I have that effect, the magic and the awe when I see him. So that leads me on to how it all started for me, the story of MJ and how he came into my life. Well, like as if I knew him personally, but you know what I mean. So I first watched a video. It was Remember the Time, so the Egyptian theme video. I love that one so much. And I remember just the bit when he disappeared into powder, and I just remembered, like, I was 5 years old, but I was glued to the screen, like, what's going on? Like, I felt like this was a magician. And since then I was trying to find the same video, but find the same man dancing, this time dressed as a wolf, as a scary wolf in Thriller. And I was thinking, wow, like, this is different every time. This artist is so incredible, because he is putting on a show, literally making a mini film for every song. And yeah, that inspired me so much. So growing up to that, seeing an artist who was trying to better himself because he was such a perfectionist, come up with something new and try to master his moves and create a new move. I mean, the lean is brand new, the moonwalk, no one had ever seen that. It was magic, and it was inspiring for me to see that someone would work hard to be better than their previous self. And even as a human, as a person, growing up, that was so important to me. How do I make sure I work hard to better my moves, to better myself, to make my goals better? Anyway, so that's what inspired me mainly. It's just to see someone who would step out and not be scared, especially to be different. I mean, Michael Jackson was criticized so much, but he kept on going, and that is so inspirational. I think anyone today who looks back at his trajectory cannot take that away from him. Even though he's been scrutinized by media and thrown into many different labels, he still carried on, he still showed up, and he still sang about messages of hope for humanity, for love. He still went out there and took the time to do charity work and to just really connect with humans, and what's not to admire and appreciate about that. So next we're going to talk about how I learned dancing and his style. So many people take the normal route of going into a dance school and learning things. My dance school was watching his videos, and one in particular is Jam, because actually he's teaching Michael Jordan. So that's the two MJs, the two legends in one video. It's one of my favorite videos where he's teaching him at the end. So if you look at the long version and you go to the end, you get a Michael Jackson moonwalk tutorial, an MJ to MJ tutorial. It's amazing. So I don't know why people are not going to that more often to learn how to moonwalk, but also just watching him and repeating a lot. I didn't go to dance school, but I was just in my room, putting on the music, and the one song that really did it for me every time was Smooth Criminal, because it's so perfectly rhythmed. It's I don't know how to explain it, but even till today, every time I hear it, it feels different in my body every time. It's that song, I don't know what it's laced with, but it's crazy how I'm moving differently as well every time I hear it. I also did a bit of tap dancing, so Michael Jackson is also really big on footwork and footsteps, so just adapted my style from there. But really, Michael Jackson contributed to 60%, I'd say, of my core moves and why I dance and why I do the popping stuff a lot with my head, and also the expression. So he's more than just a dancer, he's a performer in the sense when he's on stage, when he dances, you feel the music come out through his body because of his expression and his embodiment literally of the music. And that's something I've learned as well with my videos, is to really express and not be scared to express your passion for what you're feeling. You know, that's a huge part of the stage presence for your videos, is to interact with the camera, interact with the people around you, and basically put on a show as if you're making a film, like what he used to do, like these mini films. As all the other videos, I think people relate to the fact that I show so much passion in them, even though I'm not a professional dancer, but I do put on a show, I think, and I enjoy it so much, and changing looks every time. And that's a big thing also I want to insist on today, is I'm not impersonating him, even though I'm hugely inspired as a dancer by Michael Jackson. I am Amal. I know, first of all, I'm a woman, and I'm not trying to be like him. I'm just bringing that source, you know, that vibe. First of all, to remind people of my generation of, you know, the nostalgic vibes of who, you know, how MJ impacted us in our childhood, and also for the new generation to hopefully inspire them to take on that style and to explore his library of music. So that's why I dance to Michael Jackson so much. It's not because I'm trying to be like him. There are impersonators out there who change their faces and dress exactly like him. You'll see my videos. I don't do that. I actually adapt to the styles of people I meet in my travels. I adapt to myself. I adapt to my Moroccan roots. So yeah, I just try to bring a twist every time, and I love it. You know, that's why I do it. I think it's so unique and no one's done that before. My first time performing in a talent show, I was 15 years old. And it surprised everyone, at school. And I was dancing to Smooth Criminal. That was the first time I was on a stage performing to Michael Jackson. And after the talent show at school, also I got great response from my friends and even teachers. And yeah, I knew there was something there, but I kept it dormant for the longest time. I didn't actually dance Michael Jackson until 3 years ago, when I brought it back and I went to Uganda and I taught a choreography to ghetto kids, and we made a Smooth Criminal video. And that just blew, and no one could believe that either. Like, there was an element of shock in there, but I love that video so much. Even after 3 years, I still watch it and it gives me the same effect. Again, it's because of Smooth Criminal. That song always gives me a new effect. So there you go. That's my journey into Michael Jackson. It's not actually that much in my childhood in terms of performing or teaching. It's just out of pure passion. I went and I started teaching the style. And then after the dance with Ghetto Kids, I went to Rwanda, I went to Nigeria. And then in Nigeria, actually, the first time I used They Don't Care About Us. And I came up with a choreography to teach this group of girls who are called Dream Catchers. I taught them this choreography. They had a dance studio and we made a video as well together. I love that video. It's on black or white. Actually, it's not on They Don't Care About Us. It's on black or white, sorry. So I taught them on black or white. And then I took that same choreography over to Rwanda and I taught another group of kids called Morioks, and then to Uganda, back to Uganda, but with different groups. So it was Dream Hudson Girls and Wakiso Kids. So then I had this combination of the same choreography across these African countries. And that was so special. I thought, that's how I started, bringing MJ and the choreography. And it felt so special because I was doing humanitarian work at the same time. And it reminded me of the actual Michael Jackson message in his music is always to make a change and go and connect and try to provide some sort of comfort to people you meet. You know, it doesn't have to be money, but just offering your time and offering your skill, offering your passion for music. You know, that exchange, that's for me what the humanitarian work is about. And I'm so proud of those videos. And yeah, and after that it was like a snowball effect, you know, more organizations contacted me to come and teach dance the MJ style. Then I went to Indonesia. Indonesia is where I came up with the first choreography of They Don't Care About Us. And I did the same thing that year, 2024. I taught a really, really talented girl called Aziza in Indonesia, Lombok. She's so good. And we did one, actually, that's one of my favorite videos together. And then after I went to Indonesia, I decided to go to my root country, which is Morocco. And I have a whole separate series you can watch if you want called Finding Morocco. That was such a special trip for me, and I kept on going with this passion for MJ dancing, and I was like, you know what, I'm gonna bring now a North African twist. So went to the Blue City called Chefchaouen in Morocco. So Gnawa style is like a music, very spiritual music from West Africa and Morocco. And I suggested to dance to Michael Jackson, and he responded so well. Of course, he knew who he was, you know, even someone from the mountains in Morocco who does a style completely different, still knew who Michael Jackson was, you know, back to why he's so iconic. So we just jammed and we went down these stairs that looked like a favela. Actually, it looked a lot like the video of They Don't Care About Us. And that video did really well, I think, because it was the first time that someone had come into Michael Jackson with like traditional style with the outfits of a Gnawa person. So that was so unique. I love that. And then I carried on bringing MJ to these different groups I'd meet around the country, you know, in the south of Morocco as well. I did it with the Amazigh music group, you know, I just was hanging out in their house. You can watch that video as well if you want, behind the scenes. I was just hanging out in their house, you know, they were strangers, but finished dancing the traditional stuff with them, and I was like, hey, mind if I put some Michael Jackson? So I carried on because I'm, you know, so passionate about his music, and the videos that I make bring me so much joy. Actually, even when I'm down, I look at them. So my favorite song, it's so hard. I have to say Smooth Criminal because, like I said, the feeling I get every time, and also for the video of it. And I watched the behind the scenes, and apparently he was dressing up in the outfit. Even for rehearsals, he was dressing up in the Smooth Criminal outfit to check if the routine would be comfortable with his clothing. And he would stay there for hours and repeat and repeat and repeat, even though it looked like he nailed the choreography, but he was still repeating that. And you feel that in the video. There's a storyline, there's adventure, there's mystery. It's incredible in that lean. So yeah, I'd say my favorite song and video, but it's so tough because there's so many other ones I love, but also because it's the song that made me perform for the first time, you know, big crowd, and it's the first song I used as well when I started teaching in Africa. And the first song and video that went viral was the one with Ghetto Kids. So Smooth Criminal is such a special song for me, so I'd vote for that one. Sorry, let me know in the comments which one is your favorite. That'd be really interested to know. So now I'm gonna talk about my favorite encounters with people, my favorite videos that I did in these last 3 years. This was also a very, very tricky list because, well, first of all, I did so many and each one is so unique. But yeah, let's go. Okay, I'm gonna watch them as well just to put myself back into the feeling of them. So at number 5, how I adapted Michael Jackson's song They Don't Care About Us, because it's such a powerful message. It's about oppression, it's about finding your voice, it's about, you know, beating the system. And so many groups I met during my travels were going through some sort of struggle. So it's really important for me to actually bring that song and remember that message. So first of all, the first time I did the song was in the hunter-gatherer tribe, the Batwa tribe, they're called, of Uganda, and they're actually being pushed out of the forest because the government wants to cut more trees. So it's very important to highlight, first of all, that there's still hunter-gatherer tribes, and then they rely heavily on the forest, and we have to protect their environment and also protect the forest. So it was really important as well to listen to their story before bringing the dance element to it. But there's always a story behind my dance videos, actually. That video did about 2 million views as well, and it shocked everyone. Like, why are these tribes people dancing in the forest on Michael Jackson? Like, what, what the F is actually going on here? I love that. So that is kind of like what gave me the idea. First of all, we're bringing awareness to who this tribe is. And also, this is such a cool thing to bring Michael Jackson in the middle of nowhere. So then I did the same thing in Morocco with the Ahidus groups, with the Amazigh groups, with the Gnawa group. So this video I called Michael Jackson across tribal groups. And yeah, it's at number 5 and I'll watch it now with you. Give me all I wanna say is that they don't really care about us. Da-da-da. Yeah, let the crack. So mainly in Morocco, and also at the beginning you see Uganda and you see also a woman playing the drums. So there was that as well. Every time I felt the roots, I felt the drums. It reminded me of those drums of the song They Don't Care About Us. At number 4, we've got Thriller. Thriller is actually not a song I like to listen to, but I love to do that routine. Who doesn't love that routine? Halloween is my favorite time of the year anyway, and then you bring that routine in, and it's just that's it. It's cherry on top. It's always like in August, I always tell people it's time for defrosting for that routine. So I did that routine 3 ways, but my favorite way was again in Morocco with a friend of mine, a dear friend of mine called Ubella. I had the idea to have him dressed in a Moroccan style with the black jalaba as we call it and the red slippers we have, the babouche, the bilra. Then I was dressed, I have the Thriller jacket, so I was dressed in black and red, and we did that video and we had so much fun. We put on the makeup and he's so expressive. I think I wanted to choose him for the video because of his expressions and his stage presence mainly. He's so good, Ubella, playing the zombie. We kind of got told off because of where we were dancing. In Morocco, people are a bit weird sometimes with filming on the street, so you have to bear that in mind if you ever go. So that was my challenge most of the time, but you know, we found a way around that. So that's number 4. Number 3 is the recent one in Brazil that I did with Mario, and let's watch that again before I talk about it. That one is a funny one. Like, it was on my birthday. That was shot on my birthday. So it's such a special gift to be given the chance, the opportunity, and the privilege to go see where Michael Jackson danced and where he shot that video for the song that I was actually taken around the world, and I was finally at the source. So I was really emotional that day and I actually cried. So you can watch that video if you want of behind the scenes. I love it mainly because of the lighting and on that street. The lighting was so perfect and it was filmed with an iPhone. My friend who was there with me, he filmed. He's not even a professional. He was going down the steps with me, but we didn't need to edit anything. Like literally there's no edits there. The lighting was so perfect because it was like filtrated through, and I had AirPods on. Mario, who was dancing, didn't have the music. So the steps he was doing were so random. And when I edited and added the Michael Jackson part with the lady going like this, and I thought that was such a brilliant idea to switch between. So now it's like a woman and a guy doing it, but the other way around. So there's the dancer who's a woman, and then the passerby is a man. So that edit took me literally 1 minute. I posted that, and then it went whew, super viral. So again, so grateful. Thank you if you've seen that video and you subscribe. Thanks to that. So that's the number 3. Number 2 is one I did in Indonesia with Aziza, who I talked about. So she's a brilliant dancer. We actually met up at an abandoned airport. Again, watch another video if you want. But so the airport is abandoned, but it means that we had this whole space, and the choreography I first made on They Don't Care About Us again. We met up and she dressed up, and again, there's a cause we were really passionate about is a Palestinian cause. I'm not going to get too political with it, but art, I think, is such a good way to really fight for something you believe in. And in Indonesia, they were obviously very passionate about this topic. And Aziza has the scarf, and she had already made a video with the scarf with the Palestine colors. So I really loved that video she made. It was Heal the World, and I suggested why don't we do They Don't Care About Us with that choreography and her wearing the scarf. So I love that video. I'm gonna watch it again. It's at number 2. I love it so much because of the power, the sync, because I had to teach the choreography also to her backing dancers, miracle dancers they're called. They nailed it so well. The way we came together like in a line and then they came out on the sides. Yeah, just watch it. It's amazing. And then it just So I told Aziza the first part of the choreography, and then it switches to us, and we're in that line, and we do the dance. And that was the first time I did a choreography on that song. And then she joins us, and we do that. So that was beginning of 2024, and from there, then I went on and did the same dance across to the other groups in Morocco. Number one, drum roll, please. Number one is probably a very obvious one, and I already talked about it. But my favorite video I did for social media is still the one with Ghetto Kids, Smooth Criminal, in Uganda, 22nd of March 2022. It was filmed. There was a lot of special feelings that day. There was a lot of magic. It wasn't even gonna be shot. I have a whole other video talking about my story with Ghetto Kids and how we made that video. And it's not even perfect, like the choreography, we're not perfectly in sync, but there's just something about that red earth environment we're in, the element of shock, the outfits that are not perfect, but the rawness of it, their moves and how they go down to the floor and just own that routine, like, oh, we came up with this. We're young, but we'll show you. And this is a group that's used to doing Afro dance, but the way they were like, okay, we can do pop culture as well. And we're like 7 or 8, they were so small. Now they're huge. Me giving him the hat, him taking the hat is like passing on the torch as well. There's so many elements in this video. I love it so much. And that's why it's my number one video. It's the one that started this journey for me to teach dance, to inspire with Michael Jackson as a tool, with traveling, with connecting with others, with keeping an open mind, heart to heart. So tough to pick those five videos because also I've enjoyed every single video I did on MJ. I mean, I did one with Spider-Man in Tanzania. Jackie is such a great guy. I adapted MJ to Amapiano styles in Brazil. I mixed it up with Passinho, Brazilian funk style. Actually, even a samba dancer joined me on Working Day and Night. I did a bit of whacking on that video. So it's crazy as first of all how MJ actually can adapt to a lot of different styles. Like you can mix his rhythms with, you can remix a lot of stuff. And second, we spoke about this as well. Again, second, how everyone knows him. So in every country, you can be like, let's do MJ and they can relate. And I love those videos when I'm able to mix with someone else because that exchange is that human interaction I enjoy so much through dance. Is even though we couldn't speak Portuguese together in Brazil, but we spoke the language of dance. And that is the one that I bring forward everywhere I go. If people can't speak English or if I struggle, I always try to bring the source again with MJ, the vibe. It's universal. Do you know what? Because the love is universal, really. I don't care if this sounds corny, but I've experienced also when people are not authentic and don't have love as their intention. When I go around the world with my passion for music for MJ, it's always to remember his message of L.O.V.E. So hope you can take that with you today to just stay light and be inspired by his messages of hope and light and love, really. So that's what inspired me to be here today, really. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed this time with me talking about this legend. And please let me know if you want to find out anything else about this journey. Let me know in the comments what are your favorite moments of MJ, your favorite videos. If you've watched some of our videos, which ones have you connected with the most and why? I'd love to hear it. I'd love to have this little MJ community. Thank you so much. And don't forget to subscribe. Peace.